Hi Cancer, welcome to your horoscope. Today we're going to talk about an aspect that will color the whole of 2021. We'll talk about Saturn square Uranus, which is going to happen 3 times during the course of 2021. And we're going to talk about the stellium, this planet concentration that is happening in a single house, the eighth house in your chart. I spoke about it in detail in the introduction. Now we'll go deeper into the eighth house and what will manifest during the course of 2021 and what is going to continue to get restructured till Saturn is in this house till March of 2023. First things first, we just had a new moon in your eighth house, and we have 5 planets right now sitting in your eighth house as well. This is the house of intimacy. This is the house of proceed of relationships, partnerships. Till 2023, March of 2023, Saturn is sitting, and it's come here after 29 years. It's sitting in your house of intimacy, in your house of precedes of relationship. We have just had 2.5 years of Saturn sitting in your relationship house, Cancer. So, when Saturn is in our house of relationships, both our own personality and how we deal with relationship shifts, the relationship karma undergoes tremendous amount of shift, and you would have experienced that over the course of last 2.5 years. And it was sort of made more forceful because we had north node in your sign as well. Rahu was in your sign, so we have gone through some shifts, even some sort of streamlining of relationships. You might have detoxed the relationships and the people who are there in your life by now, or we might have redefined how we relate to people on a one-on-one basis. How do we handle relationships, clients, contracts, commitments in our life? And now moving from importance of relationship and from relationship karma, Saturn is now in the house of keeping the relationships, maintaining the relationships, and managing the proceeds and give and take of relationships. So over the course of next 2 years, Saturn will restructure how you reap the rewards and how you share the rewards, which include intimacy, which includes money, which includes the boundaries with others, how we manage that in a more effective manner so it can be lucrative and more fulfilling in depth for you. This is also the house of endings. This is the house of turning point. To continue, we need to let go of some old attachments, some old addictions, some old emotional patterns that have been blocking us in moving forward. This is the house where Saturn, when it comes, it helps us get life in order. Elimination is a key theme of this house. Surgical detachment from some old patterns that have been repeating for a long time and taking your power away, they would have to be removed. How you use your emotional power, how does it affect your relationships? How do you merge your powers with power with others? Because Saturn over here is going to teach you on how to effectively work with other person without losing your best interest in those partnership. What should be the structure of joint partnerships? How can you effectively merge or move on with the right people? When we give too much of our power away, Saturn is going to teach us how to not do that in relationships. Others you merge with will have to be deeper part of you in some ways, and to some extent Saturn over here gives us some amount of detachment in how we connect with others, so we can take more advantage of the relationships that we are in versus losing ourselves to some extent in those relationships. With the new moon that just happened over there, this is a very empowering, very transformative time for you. This is the time of coming out for cancers this year, getting rid of limitation. It's the house of power. We focus on intimacy, we focus on deep side of it without losing our power, without getting, if I may say, emotionally uh, depleted in the process of sharing ourselves with another. Developing the self mastery, the skill set that is lucrative for you, that is helpful to you in your business life as well. The fair give and take in business relationships with another. Becoming aware of your own hidden fears sometimes when you connect with others, even our own motivations in connecting with others. And the new moon over here, which has just happened in Aquarius on 11th of February, over the course of next 2 weeks, is planting new seeds of this powerful time for you. Powerful time for both give and take in business partnerships, as well as powerful time in you taking the reins of joint relationships as well. Mastering the skills of intimacy, mastering the skills of managing karmic debt with people. What is owed to you has to be returned. What is owed to you has to be fairly given to you. This is a very karmic year for you, Cancer. In a way, that the karma that is owed to you is paid to you. Karmic loans, debts are settled this year, especially with Saturn here and the stellium of Aquarius sitting in your eighth house of karmic balance. Sex would be intimacy, depth in relationships will be a very important topic for you. You would approach things very powerfully this year without losing yourself, without losing your power, digging in deep below the surface as to why and how things have been going in joint relationships with you, what blocks yourself off. And not to be the person who who's who's always at the receiving end in some ways of joint relationships. What makes you tick? What makes you excited in relationships? What makes you happy in the relationship? Aquarius is a positive sign. Intimacy in Aquarius house is handled very differently as compared to how traditionally Cancer as a sign is. Cancer as a sign is of course it's a moon sign. You're known to be the epitome of emotions. The love flows and overflows from you. But Aquarius in the house of intimacy is more about handling it in a more if I may say objective fashion versus losing ourselves when it comes to the other person, to become a part of somebody else's life without losing who we are as a person. So a lot of release in that area on how you share power would happen this year. And it would require you to connect with other people in a more objective, in a more mental, in a more objective fashion. You would merge with others, even in your personal life, in a more innovative fashion as compared to before. Aquarius is all about technology. Think, if I may say, online sex, and Aquarius sex is always, it's intimacy is handled in a very different way. It's not a cuddle with a cocoa kind of a thing. It's trusting each other, having the same wavelength, having the same brain wavelength with a person, and the person could be completely different from you. They could have very different ideals as compared to you. They could have different social political ideals. In fact, you have Uranus right now sitting in your house of network. The people online you would be connecting with, or in your circle that you would be connecting with, will have very different ideologies as compared to you. They would be different in general, and you would be connecting with them. And when Aquarius is in your house of intimacy, Aquarius, the intimacy is with people who are like friends. There's a sexual undercurrent almost to friendships, and it's not so charged with emotions. It's more charged with intellectual excitement, and with people learning with each other and exchanging intellectual information with each other as they connect with each other. The emotions are taken a little bit out of the equation when that happens, and the depth is more in form of trust on each other, in form of depth of understanding to some extent versus depth of emotions. And you'll find in this process that you would release a heavy part of your life, some part of your life which has been holding you down for some years, that would have to be released. And it's sometimes that heaviness is driven by the need to control the uncontrollable. And Saturn teaches us in this house that we have to learn to know when to take control of the situations, like you would be prompted to take control of your finances, take control of your joint finances, take control of contracts and give and take that you have financially when you connect with somebody, but at the same time knowing when to release. Because, as I said in the introduction, wherever the stellium is, we can become obsessed with that. So, the need to control the outcome can become a little bit obsessive, and that can hold the very thing you want away from you, and it can hold the joy away from you of enjoying the same thing that you want to enjoy. Aquarius is supposed to be light, it's supposed to be happy, it has to be intellectually stimulating to you, it has to be fulfilling for you as well. It doesn't have to be something that has to happen. It has to be something that gives you, fulfills you in a visionary fashion for you. People who would be coming in your in the deeper relationships that would be coming to you would be very different as compared to the ones that you had before. And the way you'll maintain the relationships will shift enormously over the course of this year. The people who have been draining your energy, people who have been draining your time and your emotions, it would be the time when you'll weed out and let go to some extent. And Mercury is right now, the planet of thinking, is going back and forth in it. So you might be thinking, overthinking, going back and forth on the subject of how to merge during this time till Mercury is here till 20th of February. And you'll find some questions going back and forth, even the actual documentation, financial documentation in which you have to share finances, money that is made from others, those financial questions going back and forth and revised at this stage. It would be the time when you'll be looking at sharing power, sharing resources, sharing our body, sharing our soul, and money from others, from spouse, from insurance, from inheritance, from debt, from tax. It will be under review to some extent. And you'll be looking to cleanse as well. This is the house of detox, cleansing your body, cleansing your mind, releasing the old that has been holding you back, becoming lighter in some way in life. And this year is going to make you lighter in some ways in your soul, because it's sort of when we release the dead weight which is holding us back. This is the unresolved grief sometimes which blocks us. And sometimes we need to mourn something. When Saturn is here, sometimes we need to just actively mourn something and release it through a personal goodbye or personal release of someone or something, and sort of make a goodbye note or burn something up to give up something that was old to you or part of your old cycle to some extent, and then making a new. This is the house of rebirth, and then coming up more powerful as the cycle proceeds. And you'll experience that over the next 2 weeks as Mercury is reborn. Your mindset about relationships, your mindset about finances, your mindset about some sort of contract you might be doing with somebody where somebody owes you money, your mindset about loans, karmic debt, intimacy, your how to detox your body, all of those things, the whole mindset is being reborn about it. And matters related to sexuality, intimacy can feel a bit messy during this time. It's like we're trying to balance that out. We're trying to balance that out. And balance that, how do you balance a stellium? Going to the other side. So when you have so many planets sitting in the house of joint intimacy with somebody, the opposite is your own self-worth, your own assets, your own love for yourself, your own assets that take care of you, that nourish you, that make you feel proud. So The point where it gets overwhelming, and you will find this overwhelming, you'll find yourself holding this too tightly, not just now, during the course of 2021, because this house of joint partnerships, relationships, finances, joint finances, intimacy, detox, there will be a lot of concentration this year with both Jupiter and Saturn together. That house is being restructured completely. So there will be a lot of emphasis on that house. So whenever there's an emphasis on that house, in order to release a little bit of pressure, we always go to the other side. The other side is the house of your own assets, the Leo house, where you're proud of what you've made yourself as a person, your own self worth, your own self expression, the possessions that you have created, the way you make yourself happy through things that you are proud of within yourselves, the skills that you own, the assets that you have within your body and in your own talent set that you're proud of, the father figure in your life who's helped you out build up sometimes that kind of confidence, who's helped you out in some ways, sometimes financially even. In this kind of access, sometimes when there are financial issues, the rescue comes from the other side, and the rescue usually comes from the father figure in your life sometimes. Going to the other side is also, being proud of your lineage, being proud of where you've come from, being proud of, how you and your ancestors have maybe come out of a difficult situation in the past and made yourself proud. Looking at things that you have been proud of within yourself, investments, your own investments, focusing on that, focusing on investing in your body, focusing on investing in looking good, focusing on investing in your glamour and whatever makes you feel happy, proud, glamorous, beautiful, fulfilled, and within yourself. That is the opposite side. So when the focus on the joint becomes too much, and there will be a lot of focus on the joint this year, and even till next year, because Saturn will stay there till about March of 2023. So this house will get, the rules of engagement with others will get redefined. How you don't lose your power when it comes to the other people will undergo a significant amount of review. You would also review relationship to debt, relationship to karmic debt, as well as financial debt. There'll be a lot of emphasis on sex, on self discovery of what you desire in intimacy. This is, when there's so much focus in this house, people are like reviewing Kama Sutra, getting ready in some ways, just trying to self discover what ticks us, what makes us feel intimate, what makes us feel excited, what makes us feel depth in relationship. There'll be a lot of focus on what regenerates you, and doing that often, what helps your soul renew, what is the spiritual depth that helps you renew. This is the house, as I said, of unresolved grief which blocks you. So there will be focus on releasing something that has been blocking you in some ways. There'll be a focus on what turns you on, as I said, and what turns you on, it should not be traditional, should be modern, should be unusual, even beyond your current surroundings. It's Aquarius in nature. They're like alien to you, literally, in some ways. They're different from you. They're far away from you, or they have different perspective, viewpoint, cultural background from you. They're beyond society's inhibitions, something that society hasn't yet caught up with in some ways. And you would be detaching yourself sometimes from, in the past, maybe from sex or sensuality or making yourself happy or being powerful in a relationship because of social norms sometimes. And now, Cancer rising, especially even Cancer moon, in my view, they would be getting rid of that. The voice within our head of disapproval when we do something that is against society norms. When we have stellium in this house, you do it because it makes you feel powerful, it makes you feel fulfilled, it makes you feel nourished, it makes you feel energized in some way. So the attitude of sexuality to how you express yourself in a powerful way, how you heal, how you're supported by others, that is going to shift enormously in this process. Your supporters, who funds your trust fund, who's an investor in you, where are you receiving funding, all of that is going through a lot of change, and there will be a new phase that is starting in that. Especially right now, you might be experiencing a new energy being infused in that with the stellium in that house right now. And especially if you're born around 15th of July, you have planets around 23 degree of Cancer. You would feel this very, very strongly as a Cancer sun if you're born around 15th of July, but it holds true for all of you because Saturn is going to go over all the degrees over the course of 2021 and 2022. And this year, we will have Saturn merge with Uranus in a harsh aspect. So you would find this intimacy play out in your network very much. This rules of engagement play out in your network very much. The people you do business with, people who you connect with for commercial reasons, the people who are your fan base, how do you connect with them without losing yourself? How do you connect with friends? As I said, you would sometimes mix intimacy with friendship this year, with these two together, being together. As I mean, do you give away your time and your talents freely to others in some ways? Social contributions sometimes require you to give a bit of you, a lot of you. But are you getting the returns for it or not? You would become a part of a big influential network. You would be exposed to a lot of people who help you put your talents on a larger scale. With Uranus in the 11th house, it's the time when we get very independent in how we earn and grow our money. And in the process of realizing our dreams and visions, in a very positive fashion, you will be exposed to people who are completely different from you, who come from different walk of life, and you might have already experienced that because Uranus has been here for 2 years already, and it will continue to be here till 2026. Very different kind of people, friends who are coming from very different walk of life, creative people who come from very different walk of life would be coming in your life and enriching your life with ideas, and they would help you gain this confidence in your vision, gain confidence in your ability to create financial gains. They will give impetus to your unique vision. They will give you platform to expand. Online media networking will add to you. It will widen your identity. And you don't have to get it done all at once, but you'll find that in order to be on that kind of scale, in order for you to share yourself at that kind of scale, you need to learn on how to manage the proceeds and the boundaries of relationship with others. How do you get remunerated for being on these kind of platforms? How do you get paid? How do you not lose your sense of being fulfilled, that you're giving too much of yourself to a network, you're giving too much of yourself to a platform, you're giving too much of yourself to the people outside? How do you not lose yourself? And these people who are coming in your life, who are invigorating, who are sort of adding this excitement in your life, they may not be the most reliable of the lot because Uranus is there in your house of friendships. These are unreliable lot. They come and go as they please, just as any artistic person, right? I mean, may not be, it's like being moody to some extent. So it's, how do you not take that as a moon sign, as a Cancer sign, as a sign which is ruled by ebb and flow? How do you not take that personally in some ways? How do you still hold your own while people come and go, adding things to your life without you losing or feeling that sense of loss when they're not there? This is a very significant and not an easy learning which will come with the process. There'll be a structure to your rebirth. How do you regenerate yourself and retain the part of what the other person has added to you without giving away the parts of you to each person who comes in your circumference? Holding yourself tight, holding the relationships light, let them add fun to you, let them add creativity to you, let them add a common vision to you, let them, add confidence in where all of you in a sea of people are going together to a common vision without getting too much hung up on how we are exchanging it. And are we sticking to the depth of it without trying to control it too much, without trying to control even the outcome of a relationship or a friendship or an intimacy too much? There's potential of immense healing out of that. There's potential to learn a very deep knowledge in humanity through that. Learning about people who comes from very different walk of life is a very enriching experience. But if we are scared of giving ourselves to others, that that feeling of fear would stop you also to interact with people who are different from you and look volatile, look different, look unique, look brilliant, look completely different from the people you have in the past relied on. Cancers like rocks. They like people who they can trust on, can stay in their life, can be there for them when they want. They like having control over their resources and finances, which is the right thing to do. But when Aquarius and the planets like that are over there, you learn to not hold that too tightly. You learn to be enriched from that experience. You learn to share control of your life to some extent. And some part of you, which in the past has held it in a heavy fashion, would have to die. People will come and go. People will connect with you. People would fall out. Even you would find that the friends they're not coming in or staying too much. Friends will be very unique, brilliant, eccentric, and they would be different from who had been. They could be idealistic. They could have a vision. They 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 should be there to radically change your own vision in life. People who are coming in your immediate circle, they're going to take you to another level. They're going to take your vision to another level. They're going to completely free you from the past in some ways, because they're going to show you a world different from yours where you would get the dreams you have not even imagined of right now. It's like, sometimes our vision is limited by our surroundings, and when we shift our surroundings, our vision shifts. And this is your immediate circle is completely revolutionized. And with that, a new vision is born. But Saturn says, let's be sure how we managing our boundaries here. Are you being protected? Do you have a fortress around you to some extent, so your core is not shook when those people leave? In joint relationships which exist, like a marriage or a long-term partnership, there'll be a lot of discussions on how we share responsibility of finances. How is there a depth in relationship? Is there intimacy in that? And the relationships that they don't stand the trust, they don't stand the test of those depth, intimacy, ability to take responsibility of financing, you would see yourself moving away from here, from there. We sort of will see this fight between the tradition versus the new that is going to go on, and your value system is being changed, is being tested. And the value system, if it was compromising you and your interest, that value system will change. We sometimes hang on to junk for too long. We sometimes hang on to the values that are holding us down for way too long. So you will find, questions around how are you able to pursue your dreams? How are you able to pursue your dreams when you're being, held back by certain relationships? It will depend on how well do you separate wheat from chaff? How well do you eliminate junk? How well do you eliminate the connections that are holding you down? And in the same fashion, your old belief about friendships, your old belief about sex, your old belief about sharing would have to be given up in some ways, would have to be released in some ways. It's like, part of you who used to merge with other people and used to be skeptical about the other people. It's sort of healing in some ways. You are recycling what you don't need, moving forward from it. In real life as well, you'll find yourself recycling your clothes, eliminating junk in your house, eliminating junk of things that you don't need. You'll find yourself actively doing that, and it will be a very, very positive experience for you to do that, even right now, especially with Mercury over there, just cleaning up the closet and making sure that your debt is settled in some ways, or your resources are in order. You're weeding out what worries you, what holds you down, makes you feel heavy. You're sort of addressing that. And at the same time, you're trying to find what replenishes you as well. And you're going to go after that without having those heaviness of emotions and past regrets and past experiences and the grief of the past attached to it. Uranus in your 11th house is a beautiful transit to have. It makes a positive aspect with you. It can suddenly put you on a platform. It can suddenly put you in a position of social contribution in arts and creativity and beauty and finances. It can suddenly put you at the pulse of the society. It can suddenly put you on a theater of sort, on a platform of sort where you're on display in public light. It can suddenly bring people of importance, of investors, mentors that can completely change your life, and they can quickly come and go from your life, who will help you manifest your dreams. If they're coming in and out of your life, that will completely shift your vision and your means to actualize it during the course of this year. So be on lookout for that. Don't be a recluse. Don't try to be away from people, because there are things from the past that are holding you down, and it's because people are important, platforms are important. These are not the people who you're trying to sort of have a depth and intimate relationship. These are the people who need to be a part of your vision, who need to be part of where you're going to some extent, and they're adding to you. And Saturn over here gives you like powerful trust within you, and Jupiter is here as well. Jupiter says, if you combine your forces, if you learn to merge with others, I'm going to give you financial benefit of that. For example, if you are in a relationship and you figure your structure of relationship out, your financials, how you're jointly financing your house, or how you're managing your finances together, the structure of that, going together in the investments could really help you with Jupiter in your house of joint finances. Similarly, if you're earning from other people in some way, you get financial sponsorship, you have support from influential people, that can completely blow up in a positive fashion in this year. So, building a strategy to get that kind of support, focus on that. Build a strategy to not lose yourself, lose your power when you're negotiating with another on how your skills should be paid for. Choose reliable, skilled partners for your business, for your personal life. Show your loyalty to your partner. Finances will help you decide to some extent these, sometimes if you are lost in direction in some ways, look at what would reward you in a positive fashion. Like if there are different contracts that are coming to you, see which one is more fair to you. See which one bends the financial equation in your favor to some extent. This is your time to get your karmic debt, to get the karmic balance. So whatever was owed to you is paid to you. So it's time to not sort of turn it down, but go towards it by having faith in it to some extent. Having faith in your own power to turn around your financial situations, to turn around your body, to turn around any addiction, any ailment in your physical body that you might have. Having faith that so much of focus on it is going to weed out what's not working over there. It's going to weed out the people who have hurt you in the past. It's going to weed out and balance out the give and take. As soon as you start focusing on the positive aspect of this house, you would automatically start weeding out the people who are not part of your vibration anymore. As soon as you start cleansing your body and mind, you'll find that the people element of detoxing also starts happening. There will be a lot of endings, there'll be a lot of release, and it will make this year 2021 will make you feel lighter about life in some ways, because the next phase is always the house of adventure. And with Saturn weeding out what is not working for you, making you powerful, making you financially more stable, creating the new rules of the game when it comes to your joint relationships and partnership over the next 2 years. The next phase is to enjoy all of that, to have adventure with it, enjoy what's coming. In fact, next year, Jupiter is going to be in your house of adventure. It's its own house. After all of this, after setting this all up in 2021, you're going to enjoy that part of you. You'll have North Node in your house of vision. Wherever North Node is, we are given opportunity, karmic opportunity to completely uplift that part of our life. Being in limelight, being on a public platform, being in front of people, being in the pulse of society with North Node in that part of the life. In fact, towards the end of this year, you'll start having eclipses already in your house of platforms, networks, vision. So there's a lot in store for you, and Saturn is going to make sure that you have the right structure to be fulfilled after you get there. So good luck for that, Cancer, and I'll see you in the next video now.